Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my 2023 NFL mock draft. This is technically mock draft 2.0. I did my first one on my TikTok at Dino Trombino. If you want to go check that out, I gave my analysis on it. But to go over it, this mock draft is going to be more on a mixture of my grades on certain players and what I think will happen. So, would I pick who's going? Maybe not, but I think it's what's going to happen. Anyway, let's get right into this. Let's start the draft. Starting with the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are in a great spot here. They trade up to get their quarterback. There are rumors that they may trade down. I don't think it happens. I think they're going to get their guy here. And if I were a betting man, I'd be taking Bryce Young right here. I know there's been a lot of CJ Stroud talk. CJ Stroud's my QB4. I still think he's really good. I think he'd actually fit what the Carolina Panthers do decently well. But Bryce Young's the best win-now quarterback in this draft, and they have a chance to really compete in this division and win this relatively weak division. I don't think they'll be competing for Super Bowls immediately, but this is a guy that will come in. He's going to play behind a good offensive line, some average receivers. They're not great, but they're average to above average. And he's going to put together a great rookie season, probably put together a good record, and probably go to the playoffs. I really like what this team's doing. Again, won't be competing for Super Bowls this year, but you work off this year, and there's going to be a lot to work with and to only get better. Now going to the Texans. The Texans really wanted Bryce Young. I really think so. And if Bryce Young's not here, I don't think they're going to go quarterback. I think they're going to go Will Anderson, take best player available. Well, not the best because I think Jalen Carter's better, but we all know why Will Anderson is currently best player available. You can get a better quarterback than the ones that are on the board in next year's draft. In Drake May, in Caleb Williams, of course, Quinn Ewers, other guys that, that's a stacked draft class next year. Go upgrade your team now. The Texans are going, DeMeco Ryans going to love Will Anderson Jr. He's going to develop him. Not that he needs to be mainly developed, but we see what DeMeco Ryans did with his defensive line over there in San Francisco. He's going to be a great pick here. Now we're going to the Cardinals. Sorry to get my dog real quick. Going to the Arizona Cardinals. They were really hoping for Will Anderson Jr. here. You wanted him in this position. He's not there. So I think you trade the pick away, and I think a prime candidate. Whoops, that's not who I wanted to pick. Prime candidate is the Tennessee Titans. Now, I won't go over too much into what teams will trade away. To move up to 3, they're going to give up a lot, but for the sake of this, I'm just going to round 1 and 3. Forced trade. They wouldn't accept this. There you go. Titans come up. They're going to get a quarterback here. Now, I don't think Ryan Tannehill is going to be the Tennessee Titans starting quarterback next year. If they want to go and try and compete, I think they trade for Lamar Jackson. But what I think will happen is I think they're just going to blow up the whole thing. They maybe won't trade King Henry before the season, but Jeffrey Simmons may be gone. Ryan Tannehill still may get traded. They take Will Levis here. And even if they don't trade Tannehill or don't blow up things immediately, they want to take Will Levis, man. They want to come up and get a guy to play after Tannehill once he's gone. I like Levis a lot. There's a lot of hate surrounding him right now on how good he may be. And while he's my quarterback 3, he's not my QB2. He's going to be a good pro. He's got all the intangibles. He can read a defense, played pro style at Kentucky. I think it's a really great fit for Tennessee. Going to the Colts, they're going to take Anthony Richardson. Now, I know you CJ Stroud truthers are yelling at me. I'm gonna unfollow this guy. That's cool. You can. I like CJ Stroud, but Steichen really wants Anthony Richardson. I think so. And looking at what he did with Jalen Hurts, he fits what that system wants to do. The RPO, the quarterback run game. The thing, Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. He's probably top 7 right now, maybe even top 5. No, I don't. Maybe not top 5, but top 7. Anthony Richardson can be all that and more. He is a athletic freak. He's going to be a beast in this system, and I think they may compete immediately. He doesn't need to start immediately. Gardner Minshew, he can come in, start. I don't know if he starts the whole season. I think they'll get sick of him relatively quickly, and then you get Anthony Richardson in and develop him, because at the end of the day, you can develop. A player gets developed the most when they're playing a game, and I think Steichen will create a system that isn't too overly complicated immediately. It'll be easy for him. I love the fit. Going to the Seattle Seahawks. I think from this spot, they take Tyree Wilson. Tyree Wilson fits what they like to do. With that mixture of size, speed, athleticism, and length, he's going to be really good in the league. And this Seattle defense needs an infusion of talent, especially on that defensive line. I like him coming off the edge for Seattle. To the Lions, this could be a Jalen Carter spot, but I don't think it is a Jalen Carter spot. I think they're going to go Devin Witherspoon. Love Devin Witherspoon, corner one in this class. I know they just took a corner a couple years ago in the first round, really highly in the first round, named Jeff Okudah. And that's okay. I know they got free agents, but the secondary still needs help. Like, none of those guys are superstars just yet. And Devin Witherspoon, he can be a superstar. He reminds you so much of Jair Alexander, man. He really does. He is so explosive. He is so technically sound. Great athlete. Love it for Detroit. He's going to be very good next year. To the Raiders, they're going to take C.J. Stroud. With the C.J. Stroud pick, you don't necessarily have to start Jimmy Garoppolo week one. I know that's kind of counterintuitive considering how much he gave him, but even then, that's not a ton of money. If you want to be your backup, cool. Or CJ can just sit behind Jimmy. Not that he needs to. One of the most pro-ready guys in this draft. Insanely accurate. I think he's a smart player. And I think he's kind of the exact fit you want in that kind of Raiders, Patriots pseudo system. He is just going to get the ball out to his playmakers, Devontae Adams. And he's going from Ohio State, which is filled with all these playmakers, going to maybe the best receiver in the NFL. That offensive line isn't going to be as great, of course, but I really like the fit. To the Falcons. I think this is as far as Jalen Carter falls. I really do. Sorry about that. Carter is bar none the best player in this draft, talent-wise. I don't think it's very close. There's just a lot of mistakes, and he's not helping himself at all. He's going to stay home. I think it's a good fit for him. They need just a ton of talent on that defensive line. It's not very good. Grady Jarrett, I like Ebiketie, but you need more, and this offers more. He's the best player in this class. I'll keep it simple as that, and you hope that he can keep his mind right. To the Bears. They're going to fix up their offensive line, and from this spot, I think Paris Johnson Jr. comes off the board. They need offensive line help, specifically at tackle. And he fits what the Bears want to do. They want to run the ball. He's a great run blocker. I do think he needs a little help in pass protection, but that's something you can develop with his athletic traits. I think it's a good spot. To the Eagles. Maybe a little out of the box for some people, but oh wow, that's not how you spell Nolan. Nolan Smith is from Georgia, is going to go to the Eagles. Maybe it's a little high. I don't care. I think he's top 10 player in this class. He is so bendy, so explosive off his first step. I think the Eagles just fall in love with him. They're going to, I mean, look at them. You might say it's too small. Look on the Eagles, Hassan Reddick. Look what he just did this year. He's even bigger than Hassan Reddick is. This guy's a beast. The Eagles just continue to reload on that defensive line. To the Cardinals, they'll take Christian Gonzalez here. They're just going to take best player available. This is a little far for Christian Gonzalez for some people, and I get that, absolutely. Gonzalez is a rangy 6'2", just man coverage corner. I like what he can do in Josh Gannon's system, and again, I think they just take best player available here. You need talent everywhere if you're the Cardinals, and you get talent, I'll tell you that. To the Texans. Now, number 12 is an interesting spot here because you didn't go quarterback. And if you went quarterback, I'd probably go wide receiver. I'm not going to wide receiver here. You might think to double down on defensive line. You got Lucas Van Ness here. And ultimately, I think it's a very high chance that they do double down on defensive line. But I think they're going to help the other side of the ball. And Peter Skoronski's here. You go get him. He can go play tackle for you. Oh, whoa, my mic just fell on me. He can go play tackle for you. He can play guard. Shit, he can play center if you want him to. Make that offensive line good. Maybe Davis Mills plays better behind it. You have Dameon Pierce. Let him go run wild behind a good offensive line. And then if David Mills isn't good, which he probably won't be, you can go get a quarterback, and he comes into a phenomenal offensive line with Laramie Tunsil. Peter Skoronski's, the guy they drafted, I is blanking on it, but the guy they drafted last year in the first round at guard. It's I like it. I think again, just best player available, and I think that's Peter Skoronski. Now going to the Jets, they're like, whoa, okay. There's one more top tackle on the board, and his name is Broderick Jones, and we're gonna pick him immediately. They run this card up. He's my offensive tackle one. He is a bit more of a project than some people may like, but I mean, his arms go down to his knees, man. He just length, athleticism. He's got really quick feet. I love what he does there. His hand placement needs work, but I think that's something you can develop. And the Jets need offensive linemen, specifically tackle help. I like it. Going to the Patriots. Oh, by the way, you also take a tackle away from the Patriots, which they need. There's not any of the top tackles still on the board. You consider wide receiver here, but ultimately, I do think they trade out. And who they trade with? See who's on the board. Ultimately, with who they trade with, there's a lot of great corners in this draft. And I think the Steelers, wherever they are, I'm sorry about that. Pittsburgh Steelers, where are you? There it is. I missed them. I think the Steelers are going to come up because there's a couple teams coming up here, aka not a couple, one team, the Washington Commanders, that really want a corner, and the Steelers want to go get their guy. Again, I won't talk about it too much. Sure, we'll just throw in a third. Forced trade. Steelers come up, and they're going to take Joey Porter Jr. It's a great fit. You know, family. Joey Porter played for his dad, played for the Steelers, and the Steelers need corners. And it's going to fit that Mike Tomlin defense really well. Long, lengthy corner, press man style guy. You put him on an island, it's a good fit. To the Packers, I've mocked this in almost every mock draft I've done. Dalton Kincaid. Go get him. He's probably the best weapon. That's not true. He's not the best weapon on the board because Quentin Johnston's still here. But man, is he going to fit what the Packers want to do? Jordan Love is going to come in with Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. Go get him a tight end that can settle in zones. He's the best tight end in this draft class. Just make him as comfortable as possible. That offensive line is going to be good next year. And I think Jordan Love has a chance to be good next year, especially with a guy like Dalton Kincaid to throw to as a safety blanket. I love it. Now to the Commanders. You didn't get Joey Porter Jr., but I think you may get someone even better, and that someone even better is Deonte Banks. Love his fit. They need corners, I think. I know it doesn't list it as needs. They need a corner, and Deonte Banks is potentially the third best corner in this draft. Going to the Patriots. This is a spot where I could potentially see Quentin Johnston come off the board, but again, I don't see it happening. You could say I've seen a lot of people go Brian Branch. Brian Branch is more that nickel corner, and they have that in Kyle Duggar. I know he's a safety, but I mean they essentially play the same role. It doesn't make much sense to me. I do still think they need a tackle, and I think they go Anton Harrison here. This guy, he's potentially the third best tackle in this draft. He's really good. He's great in pass protection, maybe the best coming out immediately in pass protection other than Skoronski. I like the fit. Sorry, I blanked out there, so I just settled it with I like the fit. Going to the Lions, this is where I see Quentin Johnston come off the board. Now you may be wondering, why the hell did you go Quentin Johnston? That's because I really, really love the idea of Quentin Johnston in that offense. You might be thinking, man, they took a wide receiver last year in Jameson Williams. Yeah, I know. In the first round, I know. But what are you going to do? Give Jared Goff all the weapons he wants. Go get Quentin Johnston. You're going to have Quentin Johnston on the outside. You're going to have Jameson Williams, and then you're going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot. You need to put safeties over the top for Jameson Williams and Quentin Johnston's speed. I mean, Amon-Ra, typically you double cover him too. What are you going to do? You can't load the box against this team. This offensive line is going to eat in the run game with David Montgomery, with the other one, DeAndre Swift. I think it's an A-plus fit. I really do. It's one of my favorite picks I've made, and I like it at 18. Going to the Tampa Bay Bucks, I think it's where Brian Branch comes off the board. He could potentially go much earlier. He is better than the 19th player in this draft. He is so fundamentally sound, so good. I like it. Now to the Seahawks. Sorry, I have a little cough. Now going to the Seahawks. They need some interior offensive line help. I think O'Cyrus Torrence comes off the board. And just, again, same thing kind of with the whole Jared Goff thing. Build around Geno Smith. Make him as comfortable as possible. He can sit back there and deal as many passes as he wants. He's an accurate passer. Going to the Chargers. Although he's not my second best receiver, that would be Mr. Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think Zay Flowers is overall a better fit. Justin Herbert, you want speed. And Zay Flowers is a 4-3 kind of guy. Man, he is just so damn fast, so twitchy and explosive. You want to be able to air it down the field, and you will be able to. Justin Herbert throwing 60-yard bombs to Zay Flowers is going to be awesome. He comes in as the wide receiver 2 in this offense, I think. It's great. Going to the Ravens. They're probably going to go Jackson Smith-Njigba. Now with the Ravens, in this draft, Lamar Jackson is not traded. I think he's probably traded at some point. But as of right now, I don't think he gets traded. And they're going to help him out. They're going to get Jackson Smith-Njigba. They're going to get a guy that is just going to get open. He's going to play that slot role for him. You're going to have Rashad Bateman on the outside. You need to give Lamar some help at some point, and this is going to help. Now to the Vikings. I'm a lot higher on Cam Smith than some other people. I think they just need corner. They need something like that. Or you go corner, or you potentially go someone on the defensive line. There's a couple places you can go here. Or you go wide receiver. Pair with Justin Jefferson. But ultimately, no. Brian Flores likes his corners, the guys that can stay on an island and deliver, but he also loves his slot corners. Cam Smith is going to do that. I love Cam Smith. A lot of people say he shouldn't be a first-round pick. He's my cornerback 4. He's another guy that's just, the fundamentals are right there. Very athletic. He knows what he's doing. Oh, wow. Whoops. He knows what he's doing. He's a student of the game. At pick 23, I think it's great value. Going to the Jags. They might also look for corner. The Jags are another team that probably needs a corner or some more offensive line help. But what do I want to go here? There's a lot of options. I think I'm going to stick with the one I've been mocking as of late, and that's Darnell Washington. Again, I love Darnell Washington. He's my tight end too. I don't know. I get it. There is some legitimate concerns about him being a receiver at the next level. But I think he will be. I think he's going to be just fine. He's great after the catch. I get it if you don't. He's going to automatically come in and help your run game. You can get to him on little drags and crossers in that play action kind of system, RPO kind of system that Doug Peterson runs. I love it. Now to the Giants. They were hoping for Jackson Smith-Njigba the fall. But at this position, that interior offensive line, specifically center, needs to be addressed. And I know it's high, but I think we're gonna see Joe Tippmann come off the board here. I was thinking Joe Tippmann or Michael Schmitz, but overall, I do think I like Tippmann more from Wisconsin. You're keeping Saquon Barkley on the franchise tag. You're gonna want Daniel Jones as much, upfront protection as possible. Make that offensive line better. I know Jordan Addison's still here. However, I think you can wait on wide receiver. I really do. I like the guys they added in free agency. Now going to the Cowboys. They have Brandon Cooks. They have CeeDee Lamb. Do they go wide receiver here? No, they don't. Absolutely not. I think they go Mozzie Smith. This defensive line is really missing that elite nose tackle. And while Mozzie Smith might not be the best nose tackle in the draft, in my opinion, I do think he's the first one to come off the board. And I think he really solidifies that Cowboys defense that gets to keep Dan Quinn, keep Donovan Wilson. I think the defense is going to be scary again next year, especially if they add Mozzie Smith. Going to the Bills. Go get Jordan Addison. I don't have a first-round grade on Jordan Addison, but Gabe Davis is a pretty unserious wide receiver too, in my opinion. Well, Jordan Addison will fit with these. He's going to get open. He's a great route runner. He's maybe the best route runner in this draft. And Josh Allen's going to be able to get him the ball. Going to the Bengals. I think Darnell Wright, if I could spell Darnell Wright, comes off the board here. Get him a right tackle. Get Joe Burrow a right tackle, please. I'm begging you. Darnell Wright's going to come in. I mean, tight end could be here too. You could definitely see a Michael Mayer pick here, but I think ultimately they go offensive line, and Darnell Wright's the best right tackle here. He is a conversation to be the best tackle in the draft. He just doesn't play as valuable the left side of the line. The Saints. There's a lot here. Wow, Lucas Van Ness fell. I didn't even think about all that, but ultimately I think that might be what happens. I don't see him going any other spot, but Lucas Van Ness is going to go here. It's a little late, I admit. Going a little later than I thought he would, but all the other picks lined up in my opinion. Van Ness going at pick 29 is a steal for the Saints. They love their big edge rushers, guys that can be put all over the defensive line. They're great at developing them as well. They just lose Marcus Davenport. Van Ness is not the 29th best player in this draft. He's top 15, top 20 pretty easily. So great value here. Going to the Eagles. Man, they would have loved some Lucas Van Ness at pick 30. I could tell you that. But ultimately, I mean, a lot of people put Bijan here. I don't think that's going to happen. If I were to pick a place right now, Brian Bresee. Again, they're just going to continue to reload that defensive line group. They're just going to continue to do it. I know they got a defensive tackle in last year's draft in the first round, and that's okay. Yeah, their defensive tackles are getting a little older. Go get some guys that you can just reload with. There might be some other players at guard or things of that nature. Let's see who was here. I think it's a little high. Maybe you take a right tackle too to reload, but no, I think this is a great spot for him. Going to the Chiefs, I've been mocking this in my last couple drafts, and I think it's going to be Will McDonald. Will McDonald is a top 5 edge rusher in my opinion, and a loaded edge class, may I add. He is, I mean, that bag of pass rush moves is awesome. He is an excellent athlete, and he's going to come in and help the Chiefs immediately. Right here, you can see the entirety of the first round. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. There's some things I might do differently on my next one, like Lucas Van Ness falling this far. I mean, the fits made sense in my head every otherwise, but I just can't imagine him ever falling this far. So yeah, there's some things I could change, but I'm overall really happy with this mock. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and thank you guys for watching.